Good evening and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Heng Sure. Today is Saturday, March 7th, here in the Gold Coast of Queensland. It is a Monday, let's see here, it's a Friday evening in California, and it's the 6th of March. We're going to continue today with our incredible episodes of the life of Master 𝗪𝗻𝗀. So glad you're here, welcome. We're going to get started in just a minute, and Vera from Brazil is going to be requesting Dharma. And before we get there, we're going to make 3 half bows to the Buddha. You're welcome to join right from where you're sitting if you care to do so. Here we go. First bow. Tsai Wen Shin. San Wen Shin. Okay, Vera, if you would like to request Dharma, please go ahead and do it now.
恭敬大德圣经，为此法会集，皆众生，经正妙法轮教导我们。如何了生脱息离不得乐，速证无生。With the Sangha, with great virtue, out of compassion, for the sake of this assembly and all living beings, please turn the wonderful Dharma wheel to teach us how to leave suffering and attain bliss and end birth and death and quickly realize non-birth.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one.
Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one.
Namo sadanto suchedoye olahudi sanmyao sanputoshi.
Namo Sadanto Sechedoye Alahodi Samyao Samputoshi.
无上甚深微妙法，百千万劫难遭遇。我今见闻得受持，愿解如来真实义。Supreme and wondrous Dharma, subtle and profound, rarely is encountered even in billions of eons. But now we see and hear it and accept it reverently. May we truly understand the Buddha's actual meaning. Alrighty, Vera, thank you so much. The Dharma request, you bet. Happy to continue here. We respectfully acknowledge the 𝗏𝗿𝗄 people of the Ugambi language region as traditional storytellers and custodians of the land where our monastery is located. We pay our respects to their elders, past, present, and emerging, and to all First Nations people whose sovereignty was never ceded. 我们恭敬地承认于伽玛语族的𝗏𝗿𝗄 人是我们寺院所在地的传统叙事者和守护人。我们向过去、现在和未来的长者们致敬，并且向所有从来没有放弃主权的第一民族的原住民致敬。Okay, moving on with our protocols here for sutra lectures. The bell sound wide resounds throughout 100 million worlds. The Buddha's law is heard and spread all throughout the triple world. The wondrous sounds that everywhere fill the Dharma realm with peace. May those who hear it gain the strength to follow in faith the Buddha's path. 正生传3000劫内，佛法扬万亿国中，公训其法界和平，利益报贪恼后的。May it be so, especially certain lands that need that help. Okay, so welcome everybody again. This is a storytelling lecture series. We're looking back into the life of our grand teacher, our teacher's teacher, who was born into the 19th century, whose life spanned much of the 20th century. We're now in the 21st century looking back. So in order that everybody can understand, I would like to point to the Chinese speakers that you can look at the control panel on your Zoom software. And there's a little place down there that says interpretation. And click on that. It looks like a globe, the outline of a planet Earth. And there is Chinese in there. And you can find it. And here are volunteer staff who are kindly offering a translation of my words in English into Mandarin. And you can listen in. Also, if you go to the chat box, you can also find a link to a Vietnamese translation. So same thing, my English, your Vietnamese. Also, should you choose to request Dharma, the way we just heard Vera do it, all the way from Sao Paulo, Brazil, you too can make a Dharma request in from where you are, in either English and Chinese, or both, or one or the other. Okay. 如果各位愿意听流利的普通话翻译我所讲的英语的话，你的软件你右下角有个地球 interpretation 是不是？那里就有 Chinese 就好了，中文OK， 还有越南文的翻译。Okay, now that we are, here we go. I would like to tell everybody who is listening outside of Australia that next week, daylight savings happens. Our next lecture next week, it will be at 7:30 California time, so Pacific time. Pacific Standard Time. Pacific Daylight Time. It goes forward. Spring ahead, fall behind. It goes back. So you'll be starting at 7:30. If you are habitually listening to Professor Verhoeven's lecture, you know he meditates for 45 minutes before his lecture. So you can still attend this lecture and catch Marty's lecture 15 minutes late. So we can make it all work. We don't change our time. It is 12:30 here in the Gold Coast for this lecture. So in Taiwan, in China, still 10:30 a.m. All righty, that's important. We'll repeat that at the end of the lecture as well, so everybody knows to, if you're in Asia, no time change. If you're in California, 7:30, okay? There are almost 100 of us online today. That's wonderful. Let me give you a preview. Today's lecture story comes from Gushan, Drum Mountain. And in the 𝗫𝗫𝗶, in Master Xuyan's autobiography, there's a lot of appended materials. There's lots of details that Master Hua did not add to his picture biography list of stories. So we're going to forward for the next picture biography episode and then go to the 𝗫𝗫𝗶 to add in the appendix stories. And they don't have any pictures, but for those of you who just love oral storytelling, it doesn't get better, because there are details that otherwise, if we didn't have these eyewitnesses to what was really going on in Buddhism at the time and what was really going on in China at the time, we would never know. So these appended stories in the autobiography open a window and a door and a skylight to the story behind the story. And those details really are unforgettable. So that's what we'll be doing today. 100 of us now from Singapore and Sydney and Talmadge and Campbell and Hong Kong and Sunnyvale and Montreal and Oklahoma and Malaysia, New York City, Germany, Oregon, Berkeley, Alameda, Santa Clara, Jakarta, City of 10,000 Buddhas, Malaysia, Calgary, Union City, Singapore, LA, St. Petersburg, Florida, Taipei, Mesa, Arizona, Calgary, Elk Grove, let's see here, Singapore, Virginia, Ukiah, Taipei. Okay, now at that point, we switch over. Hebei, Tangshan, Harbin, Beijing, Liaoning, Anhui, that is Anqing. Okay, good. Shandong, Tianjin, where else? Shenzhen, Liaoning, Xining, Harbin. Let's see here. This is a place I don't recognize. That's in Shandong. It's in Weihai. Okay. Xi'an. Let's see here. 现在在南海区九江镇. Okay. Where else? Let's see here. That is Jinan in Shandong. Okay. Jixi, Beijing, Shenzhen, Lanhai, Baoji, special, that's called precious chicken. That's in Shanxi province. Jeweled chicken. Okay, we'll take it. Let's see here. This is in Jilin, Anhui, Heilongjiang, Zhangjiakou, Shenzhen, Heilongjiang, Beijing. Let's see here. This is Haining, Tangshan, Beijing, Guangzhou, Shenzhen, Zhejiang, Jiangsu. Okay, Heilongjiang, Black Dragon River. How about that for a name? Nanjing, Hainan, Zhuhai, Harbin, Shanxi, Heilongjiang, Harbin, Liaoning, Guangdong. Lots of places. Okay, we're almost done here. Harbin, Heilongjiang, Shenzhen, Jiangsu, Suzhou, and Changchun. All right, welcome everybody. 欢迎各位。无论哪一个城、哪一个州、哪一个国家，欢迎欢迎，一概欢迎。All right, welcome everybody. Glad you're here. Here's our first story, and it reflects the situation in China. It is 1933. Our teacher is in Gushan Drum Mountain. He's at flowing spring monastery, spring like water spring, Yongquansi. This ancient monastery that he remodeled and reformed. That's what we're going to find out about today. 隋乱世有海丹, despite the unrest, still receiving monks for lodging. Here we go. 癸酉94岁，日本进入山海关，民心惶惶，病乱纷纷，到处不宁。19军在民举事，全生寺院，均指丹。唯有鼓山，公住持故，仍留海丹。十方海众，云水僧人，云集于鼓山者，数大1500之多。摘量困难，仍然维持一粥一饭水准。In 1933, the master was 94 years old. The Japanese army occupied Shanhaiguan and caused great anxiety among the people. Soldiers' behavior was reckless and unruly, causing widespread unrest. In Fujian, in the south, the 19th Army started an uprising. All the other temples and monasteries in the province stopped receiving guest monks. In other words, shut their doors. Because the master was abbot, however, Drum Mountain continued to accept monks for lodging. Wandering bhikshus from the 10 directions gathered in large numbers at Drum Mountain. Although it was challenging to provide food for as many as 15 or 1600 people, the monastery still managed to keep the standard of providing porridge and rice for the Sangha. Porridge meaning soupy rice and dry rice at lunch for the Sangha. How about that? Oh, we have 1,500 guests for lunch today. So here they come. All these monks. This one's wearing a Taoist hat. Here's the bhikshu welcoming them in. See the picture? This one is obviously tired, but his Taoist buddy is urging him on. This one's carrying a stick, holding bundles at both ends, patched robes. And Master Empty Cloud says, 欢迎欢迎一概欢迎有戒牒者 if you've been fully ordained, you are welcome. Okay, let's take a look at this text. He's 94 years old. At this point, many people just, stop. He still has 26 years of life ahead. The Japanese army occupied Shanhaiguan. Okay, this was when the Kang'er-janjang, the war against the Japanese, was at its height. And so 1911 was when the dynasties stopped. The dynasties fell. The Minguo, the Republic of China, began. And getting communications countrywide was really hard for news to travel reliably back and forth all over the greater China. But by 1933, 22 years later, there was news. You could pretty much know what was happening. And Shanhaiguan is up in the northeast. The news came down that the Japanese were doing awful things. And so people were really, really upset. And at this point, what's a soldier? What's a bandit? It's really hard to tell. There's not much difference. A soldier is somebody who's been given a gun and has maybe a uniform and has a chain of command that allows them to operate as one body. When that chain of command is broken and maybe the generals have split for somewhere safe, or maybe they have no resolve, what you have is men with weapons, without the orders and the discipline and the body commands. So what's the difference between them and bandits? Not much. In Fujian, the 19th Army itself started the uprising. Who are they uprising against? Other warlords, other generals. So chaos. And who suffers? Of course, the people without the weapons, the ordinary folks. All the other temples and monasteries shut their doors. Because how do you know? He says he's a monk. Is he a monk? You don't want to even bother, because he might just be a bandit trying to avoid, or a deserter from the military. Because Master Empty Cloud was in charge, however, Gushan continued the practice that was the standard when there's war or no war, when there's uprisings or no war, which is, if you are a monk and you can provide your 𝗙𝗲𝗄, your proof of your ordination, you are welcome. People watch your behavior. If you don't behave like a monk, even though you might have a 𝗙𝗲𝗄, you can be thrown out. But mostly, if you're legit, you're welcome. So wandering bhikshus, that just means monks who are on their way, they don't have a home. That's many monks. This is the Buddha's practice, which was, if it's not the summer retreat, 且下安居, monks travel. And they are looking for a teacher, just like who? Like Sudana, like 𝗪𝗪𝗁. They're in our Avatamsaka story that we're telling tomorrow. They're on the road. They're looking for a good teacher. So when they know that Master Empty Cloud is down at Drum Mountain and the door is open, monks show up. They come from the 10 directions in large numbers. They know that there's sanctuary, food, and a good teacher. So, although it was challenging to provide food for, 1,500, 1,600 people, I'd say so, the monastery managed to keep the standard of providing soupy rice in the morning and then rice at noon, and cultivation otherwise, right? So pretty good deal. This is his style. He is a true 皈依处, 真正皈依处. He's a place of refuge. Shifu wrote a verse, 佛教一任丹如来，僧伽即可身受怀，患难颠沛必于世，事变流离𝗙𝗍𝗲𝗍. The master carried the Buddha's teaching as his own responsibility. He personally endured the Sangha members' hunger and thirst. During trouble and difficulty, he set his will to cultivate through the chaos all the same. What people observed was this 94-year-old monk eating side by side with them. Nothing special for him. He doesn't have, and he could certainly save special food for himself. He's the big monk, and everybody else would have accepted it. He didn't. That was not his style. He was truly a cultivator and inspired others to be willing to turn their energy within, look for the Dharma, watch their mind, think about others, cultivating the way, right? So, wow, how inspiring and how rare. Okay, so that's our story. Now, let's turn to the Nianpu. Let's turn to the autobiography he wrote himself. So, major events of the year. Let's see here. Zhang Shaolian. Let's see here. Yeah, let's look at this last paragraph here. Remember we heard about the dragon last week, the dragon that came to take the Bodhisattva precepts. Let's see here. It was, we want major events. Let's see here. During the same ordination period is this one. Yuqi Zhengli Gushan. Yes. Nantai Shouzhong Hongdong Longwa. Okay, so it's here. 又同期有广东老居士张孝廉玉套来寺受具戒，年已66矣。我与清其整理古山经藏等事，借其弊，重请慈州老人老法师，在法堂将4份戒本，佛学院请新道印顺梁法师为教授。Okay, that's this part. In the spring of this year, during the precept ordination period at Gushan, let's see, this is the dragon. There we go. During the same ordination period, the dragon got his precepts. An elderly layman from Guangdong, Zhang Shaolian, whose name was Yu Tao, came to the monastery to get the precepts at the age of 66. Ordinarily, the answer would be no, too old, right? Master Empty Cloud looked at him and said, okay, you will help us organize the Buddhist canon, the Tripitaka at Gushan. After the ordination period concluded, I, Empty Cloud, again invited Suzhou to lecture in the Dharma hall at the 4-part Vinaya precepts, the Dharma-gupta Vinaya. At the Buddhist Academy, Master Xindao and Yin Shun were invited to serve as instructors. Okay, let's see here. Shinian, what was going on this year? In 1933, 粤日军占闽郊，上海方面日军攻江北。What is this？ 察北。Okay， 国军抵抗，是为128之头。3月不义在长春救满洲国至争执。Major events. The Japanese forces occupied Jinzhou. In Shanghai, Japanese troops attacked 𝗙𝗲𝗻. National forces resisted. This was the January 28th incident. In March, 𝗵 assumed office in Changchun as chief executive Manchukuo. Okay, so these are political events that happened that year, and I don't have any more information about them, so we'll just move on. But people know about such things as the rape of Nanjing and all. This happened the next couple of years. So there were some very awful events that occurred not long from here. Okay, this is the story that Master Hua selected for the picture biography. Okay, so here is a story down to here that we're going. Did not make it into the picture biography, but I looked at it and I think it's really powerful. And because this is a longer Chinese passage, I want a real Chinese speaker to read this. If it's short, I can fake it. You don't have to listen to my Chinese for long. But where it's longer, I want to ask Cliff, our translator, to read this so that the Chinese hearers can hear real Chinese. Cliff, you want to start here with 6月
6月放生园落成，正勤交居士送鹅一群来，中有雄鹅特异，全之16斤余。闻木鱼声则张翅以抗，报入佛堂则振日是佛。经月立化于佛前，不扑。正居士译之，请以僧力复𝗏𝗲7日举火，无异味。因铸10000圣坑葬之。6于是年，修筑放生园城。此地为𝗎牛寺故址。陈太府宝真记其事曰
Okay, continue please.
虚云方丈建放生园城，与于此𝗎牛寺故址也。亦左文襄公宗堂都闵时，有奔牛入蜀，为堂下不起，召四僧齐梁，令善处之。约18年，都师至闵前，审到应回往视之，以地矣。追溯其皈依后艺伎，四僧就其异处，立𝗎牛寺焉。今又将50年，此古山放生于故时也。于所亲见者，不及之。
Okay, and then just there's a 𝗏𝗟𝗨. That's it. Go ahead.
癸酉夏日5月，听水居士陈宝琛记10年80有6，复访一联曰：宋莲池大师闻与世重修净土禅，感乡因相国士古山曾见𝗎牛寺。
Okay. So here's the added story, and you don't have a picture, but as I read the story, let the pictures happen in your mind for you storytellers and story listeners. In the 6th month, there was a Fang Sheng Yuan, a liberating life garden, not a pond, but a garden, was completed. Layman, Zhang Qinqiao, brought in geese as an offering, a flock of geese to liberate. Otherwise, they would be somebody's dinner, right? Among them was a particularly unusual male goose, a gander, weighing more than 16 jin. I don't know how much that is. Whenever it heard the sound of the wooden fish, tock, 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 it would spread its wings, stretch out its neck in response. When they carried the goose into the Buddha hall, it spent the whole day facing off with the Buddha. After about a month, it passed away while standing in front of the Buddha. it didn't fall over. It died standing in front of the Buddha. Layman Zheng, who brought the geese originally, found this extraordinary and asked whether it would be possible to cremate the goose the way they would for monks. They lit the fire after 7 days, and there was no stench of decaying flesh. So they built a Wanshengkeng, 10,000 creatures mound, was built and buried it there. Also, in that year, the Liberating Life Garden was built and completed. The site before that had been the shrine of the Miraculous Ox. Grand Tutor Chen Baochen recorded the following story. Let's see here. Grand Tutor is, let's see here. Let's see here. 牛是有10年，此位为苏公藏之。Let's see here. 一位又是年放生是𝗦𝗽𝗄𝗏𝗏生记. Okay, don't know who that is, but here's the story. Okay, this is the story that recorded. When the abbot Xu Yun completed the construction of the Liberating Life Garden, I said, this is where the shrine of the Miraculous Ox was located. Now he's this historian, this is a local historian who is remembering the past. He says, I recall Zhou Wanzhang Gong was serving as governor in Fujian. A runaway ox ran into the government office and knelt down underneath, below the hall, meaning by the door, and refused to rise up. So here's a cow kneeling in front of your door. So they go running to the monastery and they say, quick, come, tell us what's going on. A monk whose name was Qiliang came and said, okay, I will take care of the ox, and led it away. 18 years later, the governor returned to Fujian in front of the army. He sent 𝗪 to find out what happened. But by then, the monk had already died. Recounting the unusual events that had occurred after the ox took refuge, the monks of the monastery said, oh, probably that was somebody with a history in the past life. So they built a shrine of the Miraculous Ox at the place where they buried it. Okay, that's a story from the past. Now, 50 years have gone by, and this is one of the traditions connected with the liberating life practices at Gushan. They've got these stories around the place. I personally witnessed these events and therefore recorded them here. In the 5th month of the 𝗦𝗲𝗄𝗏 year, he was 86 years. Here's a couplet. Reciting the writings of Master Lotus Pond together with the world, we cultivate the repentance of the Pure Land. Remembering the deeds of the Shangyin Grand Counselor at Gushan, we once saw the shrine of the Miraculous Ox. Okay, now, I mentioned last week that these are farmers in the neighborhood. This is southern China. This is Gushan. And so things that happen with animals, they pay attention. They're on it when it's an animal doing something strange. Because why? They live close to animals. And when geese go into the Buddha hall and die standing up and they don't stink afterwards, when the cows jump into the military advisor's office and lie down, this is something they pay attention to. All right? We're going to look at, before we go here quite, here's remember our 𝗤_шу last time? Here are the actual iron trees that blossomed, that bloomed when Master Empty Cloud was there. Huge, huge. Okay, so this is Gushan. These are some of these are the these are the washing basins for 1,000 monks. That's where they scrub their clothes here. This is Gushan Library. We're going to hear about this in a minute. The Tripitaka Library. This, okay, we're a little bit ahead of ourselves. This is the Tripitaka. A monk is showing us the wooden, the 𝗦𝗲𝗶𝗴𝗀. This is wood print, ink block, wooden, what's the word? 𝗦𝗲𝗴𝗀 in Chinese. This is how it looks when it's printed. So it's called woodblock printing. The original is written in ink, in this case by Master Su Dongpo of the Song dynasty, 1,000 years earlier. And they take the original ink, put it on the wooden block, and carve it upside down and backwards, so that when paper is put on it with ink, it comes out looking right side up. If you can get your head around how this is done, right? So it's done by hand, ink block printing of the entire Tripitaka, written by by Su Dongpo, who considered himself quite a Buddhist. Anyway, that's to give you a little visual of the story we're about to hear. This is Gushan Yongquan-si. Here's the Fujian Gushan Yongquan-si, flowing spring monastery on Drum Mountain in the province of Fujian, down in southern China. Okay, next story coming up. Just amazing stuff. Okay, Cliff, if you don't mind, there we go, starting with Fuzhou.
福州福山涌泉寺海内名刹也，历史悠久，殿宇千重，为闽邦第一名胜。与其历史远而僧习离，以其风景优而雅俗混。详及近代，亦成为赖佛徒生者所归，香客众多，又成为彼范如来之力受戒后，为名子比丘，捐金若干，即尊为首座，坐享尊荣。次者为知客，亦可多运金钱。随至列名首座者100余人，而知客僧亦80、90人矣。此中外丛林所无者，公悲悯之，莫如何也。会政府主席林森、海军总司令杨树光、民主席方声涛等回礼，思整顿鼓山，非师莫属。前后函电往复多次，始应之。系于民国18年乙巳某月重回鼓山，除重弃𝗕实衢、迎讫愿语诸事外，所注意者2事。
Okay. Yongquan Temple on Gushan and Fuzhou is a famous place, known throughout the country because it's old, it's from the Tang. Its history stretches far back. Its halls and pavilions rise in countless tiers. It is the foremost scenic and religious site of the Min, meaning Fujian region, southern, not too far from Tang. Because of its long history, however, monastic discipline had gradually become lax. And because of its beautiful scenery, refined visitors and common sightseers mingled freely there. In modern times, the situation worsened. It increasingly became a refuge for people who depended on Buddhism merely for their livelihood. The number of pilgrims and incense-offering visitors was great. It also became a profitable place for those who peddled the name of the Buddha. Oh yeah. After receiving ordination, one could become a nominal bhikshu, in name only, in other words. By donating a certain sum of money, you could immediately be honored with the title of shouzuo, which is, there's supposed to be one of them, and sit enjoying the prestige of that position. The next rank was guest prefect, 𝗔客, one of them, which likewise brought in considerable gifts and offerings. As a result, those listed as head seats exceeded 100. While the guest prefects number 80 or 90, all of them there to milk profit. Such a situation was unknown in other monasteries in China or abroad. Master Mt. Cloud felt deep compassion for this condition, yet there seemed little that he could do. At that time, however, Lin Sun, chairman of the government, Yang Shuzhuang, commander-in-chief of the navy, and Fang Shengtao, chairman of Fujian province, all came home to Fujian. They wanted to put the affairs of Gushan in order and believed that only Master Empty Cloud could set things straight. After many exchanges of letters and telegrams back and forth, finally he agreed to what? To leave Yunnan, where he has been, right, out in the southwest. This is the conditions that brought him. Thus, in a certain month of the 18th year of the Republic, 29, he returned to Gushan. Besides rebuilding the ancient stone drainage channels, repairing the monastery buildings, there were two matters to which he gave particular attention. Okay, let's hear about the first matter. Cliff?
Okay. 古山经版最多为海内外所无者，如苏东坡为金山寺所写《楞伽经》𝗦𝗽𝗵𝗵 每次必带划1-2圈，为东坡一生杰作，北宋沁藏之金山寺，古山得𝗨𝗲𝗿目精工铸藻离于金山本不变，其余明代所嵌各经，意志丰富，基于经法，拜驾若干岁矣。时粤东有老居士名𝗪𝗿𝗵𝗀，从公剃染，公既以整理经版事属之，3年乃编补就绪，著有《古山经藏目录记》及整理经过1,100部精妙经版，赖以保存，又刊星登集、古山宗谱、历代祖相等。
Okay, what is all that about? Oh man. This is interesting how we kind of fallen into this, listening to Cliff's Chinese and then following. I'm hoping that the English speakers just can't wait to learn and will be motivated to learn Chinese. These stories are so good. What's he saying? What's he saying? Learn Chinese. The scripture printing blocks at Yongquan Temple on Gushan were the most numerous anywhere, unmatched either in China or abroad. What are we talking about? These guys. The blocks that produce these. Unmatched, right? Here are the blocks. Carved. Those are the covers of and here they are. This is where they're stored. This is what they look like. So, special. Here, if we had to say, there they are. This is a library of woodblock prints, right there. This is the Huayan Jing, Huayan Su Chao. This is what they look like close up. Carved in the wood, printed on paper, transferred to the wood, but upside down and backwards, and then printed. For example, the copy of the Lankavatara Sutra written by Su Dongpo for Jinshan Temple, which is in Jiangsu, or Jiangsu, was executed without a single wrong stroke. In every character he wrote, he did it just perfectly. It was regarded as a masterpiece in his lifetime. This is Su Dongpo, the prime minister in the Song dynasties, writing of the 𝗙ecie经. The woodblock edition carved in the Beisong was preserved at Jinshan, which is on an island in Jiangsu. Gushan possessed a rubbing from it. So the one that we're looking at was a rubbing from the original at Jinshan. Skilled craftsmen then took the rubbing and recreated it in pear wood. I don't know why pear wood. From this rubbing, producing plates indistinguishable from the Jinshan original. Now there are two. Nowadays we just go duplicate, floop, puts it up in the cloud, right? Back then had to be carved every character. In addition, many other scriptures carved during the Ming dynasty were also present in great abundance. For many years, these had been piled in the scripture workshop on decaying racks. I mean, think hundreds of years. How do you preserve these treasures? when the racks holding them are already decaying, right? So at that time, there was an elderly layman from eastern Guangdong named 𝗙𝗪𝗪𝗀, who shaved his head and left the home life under Master Empty Cloud. The master immediately entrusted him with the task of organizing the scripture blocks. Get into the library, pull all the blocks off, identify them, and straighten them out. After 3 years, the cataloging and restoration were finally completed. He compiled a work titled Record and Catalog of the Gushan Scriptural Repository. Who was this guy who could do it? Gushan Jingzang Mu Lu Ji. Oh boy, that's a special talent. Describing both the collection and the process of the reorganization. Thus, thousands of finely carved scripture blocks were preserved through this effort. In addition, he printed the collection of star lamps, Xingdengji, the Gushan lineage genealogy, and portraits of the patriarch through successive generations. Okay, so it doesn't say this, but my guess is Master Empty Cloud looked at this layman who was already 66 when he left home and said, you have the affinities from the past to do this work. Probably he picked him out from a past life. Okay, now, because this is the autobiography, the 𝗫 there are certain works collected inside it, added to it. This is one of them. This is a brief biography of this old gentleman who, as a left home person, became known as Guanben. So it's a little bit longer, but we can fit it in the time we have. Cliff, if you don't mind just reading this whole thing here, I'll keep scrolling, and then we'll try to get it in because it's really, really moving. Okay, please begin.
复官本法师施略，师俗姓张，名寿波，号𝗦𝗲𝗿𝗀，广东香山县人，家富有。中式光绪17年辛卯，乡试第7名举人，年才24耳。少年歌妓，极甚升华，讲求维新，东渡日本，为横滨大同学校校长多年。壮岁知有出世事，深研佛典，即以其风俗家产改为功德林。民国9年遣其独子，以微君老和尚剃度为己族，师以母老不欲远离。至民国19年庚午，太夫人弃养，师随出家，赴鼓山依云公受具，法名名医，号官本，年66矣。请曰：弟子几世未明，不能放下，岂开示？云公曰：我平时叫人放下，但是叫你不要放下，且要挑起来。你本是富贵宫中人，已舍弃了。有一独子早年出家死了，家财尽舍做佛事了。你今日又舍身出家了，已经一切放下了，还有什么放不下的？你要挑起来，才能核担如来大事。师替类受教，云公随以整编鼓山宗图及经版式组织。鼓山晚代祖师传记多为旧藏本所无，而今续藏所有。附簿上五参学履仿新续藏，参转语叶公参转语叶公绰。业曰：续藏千卷10余箱，才寄到2月，尚未起。如云公虚词，举以赠之。师得此，乃为鼓山补增补各祖师传记。以云公府南华，师为首作，著力甚多。至民国34年抗战胜利，云公主师回粤，逆皆主持6荣，师并不起。至腊月初6日西归，敕授78，僧腊16，前后男女弟子归者1万人。执服者道为之塞，突批得舍利无数，著述甚富，有相关阁集20卷待刊。
Okay, so this is a brief biography of a monk who is not Master 𝗪𝗻𝗃, but if we didn't read Master 𝗪𝗃𝗀's autobiography, we would have not known about this remarkable man. Listen, his secular name was Zhang, his given name was 𝗪𝗍𝗺, his style name was 𝗬𝗏. He grew up in Guangdong in the south. His family was wealthy. In the Guangxu year 1891, he passed the provincial exam. He was number 7 among the successful candidates. This is among the last years that the traditional examination thing was done. He was only 24 years old, but he was clearly on his way up, number 7 in successful candidates. Achieving scholarly success at such a young age, everybody knew about him. Oh, watch out for this guy. He was interested in the reform movement. This is while the dynasty was still in place, before 1911. He traveled east to Japan. He served for many years as principal of the Datong School in Yokohama, in Japan. In the prime of life, he understood the significance of transcending worldly affairs. He devoted himself deeply to the study of Buddhist sutras. Okay, so there's a turn there. He had really good roots. Using his considerable family wealth, he established a charitable institution called 𝗏𝗏𝗿 in Japan. In the 9th year of the Republic, 1920, he sent his only son to leave home under 𝗦𝗽𝗲𝗻𝗀. Okay, what a strange father to send his kid to leave home, right? But not long after, the son died. Because his mother was elderly, this monk did not want to leave her. It was not until the 19th year of the Republic, when his mother passed away, he finally left home. He went to Gushan to become a monk under who? Master Xu Yun, our teacher, Master 𝗪𝗻𝗃𝗀. His Dharma name was Mingyi. His monk's name was Guanben. He was 66 years old. Okay, now this story gives us a dialogue with Master 𝗪𝗻𝗃𝗀. He asked 𝗪𝗻𝗃𝗀, I still don't know what I'm doing. I can't let go. Please teach me. Master 𝗪𝗻𝗃𝗀 said, ordinarily, I tell people, let go. For you, don't let go. Pick it up instead. You were originally a person of wealth and status, but you let those go. You had a son who you allowed to leave home and become a monk. He has died. Your family wealth has been given away for Buddhist works. You already left home. What have you got to let go of? What is there left that you can't let go of? Pick it up now. Take on the great work of the Buddha. So, hearing this, the 66-year-old former school principal started to cry and said, whatever you tell me, I'll do it. Master 𝗪𝗃𝗀 says, now, we have a job here at Gushan Yongquan. Our library is a mess. We have jewels in our library, best in the country, and yet it's totally chaotic. Can you put it in order and edit the sutras, and also write a history of Gushan? We want you to write the history of Gushan. Tell us the story of all the old monks to the present, and then organize the library. Many biographies of the later patriarchs of Gushan were not found in the old stored editions, but did appear in the new supplement, written by who? Our monk, Guanben. So he went to Shanghai, he met Sun Xue and looked for the new supplementary canon. In the supplementary canon, there are 1,000 scrolls in more than 10 boxes. It came 2 months ago. We haven't even opened it. If Master 𝗪𝗃𝗀 needs it, I will give it to him entirely. So they did. So Guanben brought back another edition of the Tripitaka called the 𝗪𝗍𝗪𝗀, brought it back to Gushan. They supplemented all the biographies of the patriarchs of Gushan. So later on, Master 𝗪𝗃𝗀 went to Nanhua, another close by monastery where the 6th patriarch was. Master Guanben became the shōzō who traveled with him, the senior seated, the first seat. After the 1945, when the Second World War came to an end, Master 𝗪𝗃𝗀 said, go back to Guangdong you can be the abbot at Liurong, 6 Banyans monastery, but Guanben died. Didn't survive. So on the 6th day of the 12th lunar month, passed away at the age of 78, 16 years as a monk. Over the course of his life, more than 10,000 men and women took refuge with him as disciples. As his funeral procession went by, the crowds were so great that the roads were blocked. They found numerous sharira. He left behind many writings, including Xiangguang Ting, 20 volumes awaiting publication. So there we are. What a story of a monk who otherwise would be unknown to us, right? Guanben. I didn't look to see if there might be an image of him. Guanben Fa. I think probably not, but you don't know. Let me just check to see here. Guanben Fa. Oh, okay, good. We got him. We got him here. Is this the right Guanben Fa? 𝗍𝗲𝗻 No, this is a Hong Kong monk. This is a different monk. All right, so it's not an uncommon name, but the point is to say that so first of all, I think we should pay attention here. Ordinarily, somebody comes 66 years old, he would be turned away. He would be told, too old. Sorry. And all of this talent would have been lost. But because Master 𝗪𝗻𝗄 was not bound by the rules stiffly, he opened an expedient door and immediately told this 66-year-old brand new monk, you've got work to do. You started out, you were this amazing scholar in this life. At age 24, you'd already placed number 7 in the national exams. Please tell the story of all of the monks at Gushan. We're going to find out next week what Gushan was like. Some of the stories that are coming out about Master 𝗪𝗄𝗪 will make you weep. I'll give you a clue as just a preview. As we found out, when Master 𝗪𝗄𝗪 got to Yongchuansi, it had become corrupt. It was too popular, too many people. So without leadership, without the virtue of Master 𝗪𝗪𝗪, it had become a corrupt monastery. There were 100 𝗪𝗁, and the 𝗪𝗁 is the senior seated monk. He gets all the offerings. People make offerings to him. He puts it in his pocket, right? And so there were 100 of them competing for offerings. Master 𝗪𝗪𝗪 came and abolished the position. What happened? Among the 100 monks, there were 10 who hated him for it and opposed him and sabotaged his attempts at reform, even harming him in the process. Master 𝗪𝗪𝗪, with his virtue, was able to withstand it and set things straight, but that's the kind of, that's the situation. He did the same thing back in Yunnan and faced the same stubborn resistance. So, you know, when you're trying to rid the house of the rats, the last rats in the corner will bite, right? So that was what was going on. So we'll find out the details of those stories, which are just astonishing. What personal strength and virtue and unbending commitment it takes to set a place straight that has gone corrupt and criminal, right? He's 94 years old as he's doing this. And he is able to pick out from the monks who show up the real talents and put them to work to keep the Dharma alive. So as a result, we have complete lineage of Goshan going all the way back and to the present. So amazing, amazing stories. Next week, those of you in the US, come an hour earlier, an hour later. It's at 7:30, not 6:30. Furthermore, I will be in Singapore this time next week, and hope all, let's see, it's Saturday morning, 10:30. I think it should be fine for this lecture. I think it'll be the same. So, see you all next week from Singapore. Tune in, same time, same place. Don't be late. Find reward. May all who sorrow leave their grief and pain. May this boundless light dispel the darkness of our endless night. Because our hearts are one, this world of pain turns into paradise. May all become compassionate and wise. May all become compassionate and wise. May all become compassionate and wise. And before we go, I invite you all to join me in bowing to Guanyin Pusa. Bow in respect to the Venerable Master. Tomorrow's lecture on entering the Dharma realm begins a whole new teacher. You certainly want to be there for that. It's the Upasika Asha, the first of 21 female good and wise advisors for Sudana. See you all tomorrow. Amitofo.